Welcome to CEC Gurukul lectures. In this particular part of my presentation, I would be talking on good vision statements. There are very few common rules that pretty much every good vision statement should follow. They should be very short, catchy, punchy and memorable, and should clearly define the vision statement of any organization. They need to be very specific to your organization and describe a unique outcome that only you can provide. The generic vision statements that could apply to any organization won't cut it. So do not use the words that are open to interpretation. For example, saying that you will maximize the shareholders' return does not actually mean anything unless you specify what it actually looks like. So that means when you talk about the good vision statements, there should not be any room of interpretation or unclear statements. The statements which you use in your vision should be unique to your organization, very specific, crisp and small, punchy and memorable, and should be very clear in terms of the interpretation. So any kind of ambiguous word or a word which is having more than one meaning will make it useless. So we have to be very careful using and making the vision statements, keeping these aspects in mind. Now of course, when you are talking about the good vision statements, that should be, keep it very simple so that it is easy to understand for insider as well as the outsider. No technical jargons should be used, no metaphors should be used, no buzzwords not to be used if it is possible, and it should be ambiguous enough to be exciting but not too ambitious that it seems unachievable. So if these parameters are not kept in mind, the statements which you are drafting for the vision statement will be all in vain. And today we are living in the world of accreditation, quality standards, upgradation. So drafting of the good mission and vision statement is the first primary thing which you should do. Now it's not really a matter of time framing your vision, because that will vary by the organization, but clearly anything that has a time frame outside 3 to 10 years should be challenged, so as whether it's appropriate or not. So whenever you have to keep the time frame in mind, keep that time frame which is not questionable, which is achievable, which is realistic, because any kind of years if you put like 15 years from now or 20 years from now will carry no meaning because of the dynamism around, because of the challenges around, because of the changes around. You cannot have a longer frame perspective in mind when you are drafting the vision statements, and it needs to be aligned to the company value system that you want your people to exhibit as they perform their work. So we have addressed earlier also that whether we are drafting the mission statements or the vision statements, you have to tie them with the company values. You have to use the simple words, crispy words, punchy words, memorable words, the words which do not carry double meaning, and the time frame should be very clear and achievable, and the statements should have inspirational aspects into it which motivates the workforce. Now let me give you a stepwise information as to how to write a good vision statement. A vision statement is an anchor point of any strategic plan. It outlines what an organization would like to be ultimately achieving and gives a purpose to the existence of the organization. A good vision statement should be short, simple, specific, leaving nothing open to interpretation. It should also have some ambition into mind, and this comprehensive guide will take you through the entire process of writing a good vision statement with examples, and of course that will help you drafting the statements accordingly. So the aspects which I have explained you, let me give you some hypothetical examples. A bakery bakes a bread, but the outcome is the consumers enjoying that bread. A consulting company gives an advice, but the outcome is that the success of others based on that advice. The government department does lot of things, make lot of plans, makes lot of schemes, but the ultimate outcome is the better life for the citizens they serve. So I hope with this you are able to understand the vision and the mission statements, the learning outcomes, and how the explanation of these examples is going to help you in step-to-step formation of the vision and the mission statements. Now let us come to step 1. Define what you do as an output. So we have to start by being exceptionally clear about what is the organization actually doing, and we have to be very careful to remain output focused rather than the input focused. Now coming on to step number 2, define what unique twist your organization brings to outcomes. So at some point of time in your organization lifespan, someone will have believed that the reason that this organization would be successful, whether others have failed, was being of something. So these aspects have to be kept in mind. Now coming on to step number 2, define what unique twist the organization brings to the organization. So let us look to some hypothetical examples, and continuing with the bakery example. A bakery bakes a bread, but the outcome is that the consumers enjoying that bread. So let us take our bakery example once again. So our vision statement is looking pretty generic along the lines of the customers enjoying our bread. But why will they enjoy our bread more than the bread which is bought from the next door? It is a question mark. So it is because we use centuries old traditions passed through the generations of our family. It could be because of our premium grade locally sourced ingredients used into it. Whatever unique selling point is, let it shine in your vision statement. Do not left it generic. Otherwise, the vision statement will lose its meaning. So this bakery example makes it very clear that we want to sell the bread because we want to have a delightful experience which are faced by our customers. So the reasons are fine that we are using the centuries old traditions plus we are using the premium grade quality. So these two particular aspects which are unique to your organization, it should shine in your vision statement. Only then you will be able to achieve it. So let us move on to step number 3. Apply some high level quantifications. Now a common problem with not so good vision statement is ironically that it's too visionary with no possible end in the sight, or it is totally unrealistic one. So the initial inspiration derived from the good vision statement can quickly turn to the frustration or even the cynicism among the employees. So what I want to state here is that whatever you want to state in your vision statement should be realistic and achievable. Anything which is unrealistic and unachievable will only full the level of frustration high and a lot of criticism among the employees, which is very detrimental to the growth and the development of any kind of organization for that matter. Sticking with our bakery example further, we might want to refine our target audience. Every customer who walks through the door, that's fine. Or maybe we want to be even bolder. Every customer within walking distance of a store. So the quantification we apply could also be industry specific. If we are using a B2B, that is the business to business, are you shooting for some SMEs, that is the small medium enterprises, or the multinationals for example. So you have to quantify a high level of your achievable targets and it should be shining high in your vision statements. Step number 4, add relatable human real world aspect. This is very, very important. Our vision statement by this point should be pretty close to be finished, but one final trick you can apply to help make it even more memorable is to add a real life aspects. So this will allow the people to conjure up a solid metal image to associate with your vision statement. So that means here we are adding some kind of a human factor into it. That is, you have to ensure that every customer who leaves our store goes so smiling. So adding the word smiling makes it, connected very nicely with the humans, because humans are the one who can smile, no one else. So that is what we have to add to our vision statements, some relatable human aspects which is very close to the real world aspects. So hence using of the word smiling as opposed to happy is definitely extremely powerful, because it conjures a mental image of a person who is smiling, and it won't always be possible to bring this level of tangibility to a good vision statement, but if it is, I would strongly encourage of doing it, because there are so many types of organizations who would like to add the relatable aspects relating to the human factors, but in reality they are not able to do it. So it's not a big problem. Try and add something which relates to the human to maybe a smallest extent, but I highly recommend whenever you're drafting the vision statements, some kind of relatable real aspects relating to humans must be added. So let me have you a recap of all the 4 points we have done in relation to step-by-step drafting of the vision statement. Number 1, define what you go as an output. Number 2, define what unique steps or twist you want to add. Number 3, apply some level of quantification. And number 4, add some relatable human real aspects. So whenever you are adding or drafting the statements relating to the value system, the mission system, the vision system, etc., we have done a step-to-step criteria, but how to write it, what particular measures have to be kept in mind, what all aspects have to be done, let us see that. The first thing which you can do is a gathering of the leadership, identify the facilitator, dream as a group, share ideas, write a vision statement, clarity of the mission, and define the organizational value. So we will be discussing these aspects, that is the 7 steps of writing the vision, mission, value statements, achievable objectives as the 7 steps. So let me explain you the first step. The first and the foremost step in writing of these statements and the value statements is gather the board level leadership. Writing a vision, mission and the value statement should be an exercise that is done at the board level with some senior level employees as a part of it. This can be done in a retreat setting such as the conference room of a hotel, a back room of a restaurant. The goal is to create an environment that is insulated from the distractions and the interruptions. So unless and until you have some senior person with you, the whole purpose will be defeated, because he has lived through the organization, he knows about the ups and downs of the organization. So he will be the best instrument to use as far as the drafting of these statements is concerned. So you have to incorporate the board level leadership into it. That is going to be excellently good as far as the drafting of these statements is concerned. Now coming on to the second step, identify an objective facilitator. If an organization has a strong leadership, there may be someone at the board level who can facilitate the visioning sessions. Whether the facilitator is a member of the staff or is contracted through a third party, the facilitator role is to help drive the process without influencing the content. An experienced facilitator will know how to do this. So a highly recommended aspect is to include a facilitator. Could be a person from within the organization, could be a person outside the organization. If you have outsourced it, then of course it has to be a third party, but whosoever is there as a part of drafting of the vision mission statement should not influence the content. They should facilitate as far as the role of driving of these and drafting of these statements are concerned. And of course, you should not be taking any kind of a fresher into account or into the team, because only an experienced facilitator can give us the good mileage as far as the drafting of these statement is concerned. The third step is dream as a group. A visioning session is a time for dreaming. Work with the flip charts to get a creative juices going and providing a colorful visuals that helps spark your thoughts and ideas. Drive into 3 to 4 people group, provide each group with a flip chart and have them discussion and answer the various questions in mind. So what here we want to reiterate is that we have to put everything in black and white, making use of the various colorful charts, visuals that is going to translate your ideas onto the paper, which is used as a sparkle to postulate your ideas into words. And how we can start building these statements? The first thing what the corporate or the any kind of organization, be it higher education institute is concerned, please, whatever is the team, divide that team into 3 to 4 groups of 3 to 4 people each, give them a flip chart, ask them about how they have to move on. There should be a simultaneous group going on at the same time. If there are more than one group, who are we? What do we want this organization to look like in 5 to 10 years from now? Where do we want to be after 1 year, after 5 years, after 10 years down the road? You have to create a headline for a newspaper about the organization 10 years from now. What would it say? So all the groups have to answer these type of questions as far as drafting of the vision statements is concerned. After the group drafts a couple of sentences, read them loud to the entire group again. Next, test these sentences to see if the entire group agrees that the statement is a reflective of the organization and describes an ideal future state or not. Make sure that the statement is descriptive enough and is measurable to determine the progress towards the vision. Then after the vision statement is written, go through a similar exercise to define the organization mission. We have now drafted the purpose for the future. Now is the time to draft the purpose of now. So the similar process can be followed when you draft the mission statements. Remember, a mission statement describes why the organization exists. That is the statement of the purpose. The vision and the mission statements should be used of what the organization is trying to accomplish. Break into small groups again, spend some time again, do the brainstorming words and sessions, describe why a particular organization is existing. And once all the groups have their ideas down, ask them to present to all other groups. Then using a flip chart, combine all the ideas as a group, try to create short phrase that is descriptive of why the organization exists. The phrase will be modeled by the group, and after it is in the final stage, read it out loud once last time so that the entire group agrees onto the statement, and then whatever statement they agree upon becomes a reflective of the entire organization and will give to the answers of why the organization exists. Once all the organizations have their ideas, ask them present to all the group, and we have done the steps, and eventually you will have the clear mission statements also. So hence, in short, we can say how to formulate the vision mission statements. There is a bottom-up approach, involves all the stakeholders, discuss and brainstorming sessions, you do the gap analysis, do the SWOT analysis, see the challenges before the institution, what are the immediate and the long-term goals which the organization is striving for, evolve the vision and mission statements based on these discussions and make a strategic plan. Many organizations don't have a defined vision and the mission statements because they don't know how to do it and the process scares them. However, if you can get the right people in the room and have a trained facilitator as a part of the drafter, it can done in few short hours. Believe me, they are so easy to make. The only two prerequisite is a good visionary, senior managerial personnel, and the second is a facilitator. Then things would be done in just few short hours. Has the organization come up with a vision mission statements? Now basically I'll give you few examples. The first example is an institute mission statement to serve the humanity by creating professionally competent, socially sensitive engineers with high ethical values who can work as individuals or in groups in multicultural global environment. It is basically the mission of the organization is to produce outstanding engineers, brilliant researchers and teachers, and great entrepreneurs and the leaders. So this kind of a holistic statement signifies the mission statement of any institute. Let us see another example. Basically, to attract and nurture the quality minds who will contribute towards the global knowledge economy, to inculcate a strong research culture within a dynamic, efficient and effective team of academic and support staff, and to be financially self-sustaining via education and commercialization of research and development products and services. So I hope with these two examples the things are very clear to you. So just to give you some information about the National Board of Accreditation. National Board of Accreditation is responsible for the accreditation of higher education institutes in India. The NBA, that is the National Board of Accreditation, is also full member of Washington Accord. NBA accreditates the program and not the institution. So this thing has to be kept in mind, that when the accreditation process of the technical institution is concerned, they only give the accreditation to the programs, not to the entire institute. This is a matter of good aspects and importance, that you have to keep this in mind, that you have to make your program so comprehensive and good and adhering to all the parameters which has been addressed by NBA. Only then your particular course will be NBA accredited, which is equivalent to the global accreditation. Because we are a part of the Washington Accord and was signed by India in 2014. So if an institution is planning to apply for the National Board of Accreditation for a department, then in criteria number 3.1 of the self-assessment report of NBA document, you are explicitly asked to mention the course objective and the program objective mapping for a minimum of 8 core courses. So this is another important thing. One, the NBA gives accreditation to only course. Number two, under the parameters and the criteria of 3.1, you have to show the CO-PO mapping, that is the course objective and the program objective mapping of 8 core courses. If these formalities are complete, only then you can apply under the SAR report under criteria 3.1 for the accreditation under the NBA accreditation framework. So before applying for NBA accreditation, the concerned department should make sure that their course objectives are well defined and serves the purpose of outcome based education. Institutions adopting the OBE, that is the outcome based education, they try to bring changes to the curriculum by dynamically adopting the requirement of the different stakeholders like the students, parents, industry, personnels and recruiters. So what here is important is that under the accreditation framework of the National Board of Accreditation, the outcomes as far as the course is concerned has to be well planned and well written, and it has to be the institution which is adopting the OBE framework. They are trying to bring changes to the curriculum by dynamically adopting the requirements of different stakeholders, like we have the stakeholders like students, parents, industry, personnels and recruiters. When you talk about the higher education institutes in India, they are classified in two categories, Tier 1 institution and Tier 2 institutions. The Tier 1 institution consists of IITs, NIT, Central University, State University, autonomous institutions and Tier 1 institutions can claim the benefit as per the Washington Accord. But if you fall in Tier 2 category, that is the institutions consisting of affiliated college of the university, you should define the institution vision and mission and department vision and mission to comply with the tradition, culture and ethos of your institution. Now, when you talk about the institution vision, vision is a picture of the future you seek to create, describe in the present tense as it were happening now. It shows where we want to go and what we will be like when we get there. So, the mission statement defines an institution is why the institution exists, its reason for being there, and it defines what are we here to go together. Similarly, we have the departmental vision also. The vision and the mission statement of department should be correlated with the mission and the mission statement of the institution. Now, coming on to the department mission, a mission statement might include a brief history and the philosophy of the academic program and the type of the students to be served, the academic environment and the primary focus of the curriculum, facility, roles, outreach to the community and the role of research. So, a senior professor who has undergone the NBA training should be designated as a NBA coordinator for a program because he knows the insights very well about the organization. He has spent so many years in that organization, so he knows what is what. So, for this institutional mission and departmental vision, a senior professor should be involved for the NBA accreditation and the framing of the vision and mission statements, and he should be the coordinator. The senior professor who has spent some good number of years in that organization should be the NBA coordinator for a program.